Hello and welcome. Today we're going to discuss about UGC NET paper first. Syllabus of paper first is teaching aptitude, research aptitude, comprehension, communication, mathematical reasoning aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, information and communication technology, which is also called ICT, people and development environment, higher education system. Okay, let's go to our first topic. Our first topic is teaching aptitude. Concept of teaching aptitude. Teaching can be both formal and informal. Informal teaching is carried out within the family or in community during initial years of life. It is also called homeschooling. On the other hand, formal teaching is carried out by paid professionals called editors, teachers, and faculty. Okay, teaching is one of the instruments of education and is a special function is to impart understanding and skill. The main function of teaching is to make learning effective. The learning process would get completed as a result of teaching. So, teaching and learning are very closely related. Meaning of teaching. Teaching is a process in which one individual teaches or instructs another individual. Teaching is considered as the act of imparting instructions to the learners in the classroom situation. It is watching systematically. Davy considers it as a manipulation of the situation where the learners will acquire skills and insight with his initiation. Objectives of teaching. Number first is acquisition of knowledge, thoughtless teaching, development of understanding, conceptual, intellectual, and subject to specific skills, thoughtful, development of values. In general, to change behavior and conduct of student, to improve the learning skills of students, including methodological, critical thinking, writing, creativity, hypothesis, etc., subject knowledge, to provide a social and efficient member of society. Basic teaching models, also important question. There is no basic models of teaching, but two contrasting models are discussed here. These two are instructor-centered teaching and learner-centered teaching. Instructor-centered teaching is a conventional approach. The instructor more or less controls the material to be learned. This method of learning is to acquire and memorize new knowledge or learn new skills. Instructor-centered teaching can also be described as pedagogical approach. Pedagogy is the art and science of teaching. It determines how the teaching occurs. How the teaching occurs in pedagogical approach. The learner is dependent upon the instructor. Learner is dependent upon the instructor for all learning, and the teacher assumes full responsibility for what is taught and how it is learned. Second is learner-centered teaching. In this model, the learner is mostly self-directed and is responsible for his or her own learning. The student is learned best not only by receiving knowledge but also by interpreting it. That is learning through discovery and acquire new knowledge and develop new skills. This type of teaching is also referred to as andragogical approach. Self-evaluation is also the characteristic of this approach. Characteristic features of teaching. Teaching is a social and cultural process. It is planned to enable an individual to learn something in his life. We can describe the nature and characteristics of teaching in the following way. Teaching is complete social process. Teaching is giving information, communication of knowledge. Is an essential part of teaching. Teaching is an interactive process. Teaching is a process of development and learning. Teaching causes a change in behavior. Teaching is an art as well as science. Teaching is face-to-face encounter. Teaching is observable, measurable, and modifiable. Teaching is a skilled occupation. Teaching facilitates learning. Teaching is both conscious. Teaching is both conscious and unconscious process. Teaching is from memory level to reflective level. Teaching is a continuum of training, conditioning, instruction, and indoctrination. To understand the meaning of teaching, it's essential to understand the difference between teaching and other similar concepts like conditioning, training, instruction, and indoctrination. Nature or characteristic features of teaching. Today, we're going to discuss about levels of teaching. It has three levels: memory level, understanding level, and reflective level. Memory level is given by Harvard, and understanding level is given by Morrison, and the reflective level is given by Hunt. Okay, let's go start our topic. Classification of memory. Immediate memory, permanent memory, personal memory, impersonal memory, active memory, passive memory, mechanical memory, physical memory, rote memory, logical memory. Okay. Memory level of teaching, which is also called MLT. Herbert is the main proponent of memory level of teaching. It is the initial stage of teaching. It induces the habit of role memorization of facts and bytes of information. The teaching learning process is basically stimulus response. SR here. It enables the learner to retain and also to reproduce the learned material whenever required. The evaluation system mainly includes oral, written, and essay type examination. Good memory includes rapidity in learning, stability of retention, rapidity of recalling, and ability to bring only desirable contents to the conscious level. Okay, and the next is understanding level of teaching, which is also called ULT. Morrison is the main proponent of understanding level of teaching. It's memory plus insight, as it goes beyond just memorizing of facts. It focuses on mastery of the subject. It makes pupils understand the generalization, principles, and fact. It provides more and more opportunities for the students to develop the intellectual behavior. It provides active role for both the pupils and the teacher for the assimilation of facts. The evaluation system mainly includes both essay and objective type question. Morrison has divided the understanding level of teaching into 5 steps. Okay, don't forget, Morrison has divided the understanding level of teaching into 5 steps. 5 steps: exploration, testing, previous knowledge, analyzing the content. Presentation: content is presented, diagnosis, and recapitulation till the students understand. Assimilation, generalization, individual activities working in laboratory and library, the test of content. Organization: pupils are provided with the occasions for representation. Recitation: pupil presents the content orally. Okay, reflective level of teaching. The third one is reflective level of teaching, which is also called RLT. Hunt is the main proponent of reflective level of teaching. It's highest level of teaching and includes both ULT and MLT. ULT, which is understanding level of teaching, and MLT, memory level of teaching. Okay, it's problem-centric approach of teaching. The students are assumed to adopt some sort of research approach to solve the problem. Classroom environment is to be sufficiently open and independent. The learners are motivated and active. The aim is to develop the reflective power of learners so that they can solve problems of their lives by reasoning, logic, and imagination, and lead successful and happy lives. The pupil occupies the primary place and teacher assumes the secondary place. Essay type test is used for evaluation, attitude, belief, and involvement are also evaluated. Dynamic environment. In context of dynamic teaching, environment: teacher is an independent variable and student is a dependent variable. Okay, teacher is independent variable and student is dependent variable. Closely related to education, learning, instruction, and training. Teaching is basically causing to learn. Okay, teaching is the main tool to educate a person. Important concept is related to teaching. Some important concepts, which are education, learning, instruction. In instruction, teaching is a wider concept and instruction is a part of teaching. Training, again, teaching is a wider concept than training. Indoctrination, teaching can be done without indoctrination, but no indoctrination is possible without teaching. Syllabus and curriculum. Intellectual activity. Teaching is essential and intellectual activity. It's not merely talking or expressing one's ideas. It requires conscious and continuous organization of learning activity. Teaching is a science as well as art, which I have already talked about. Teaching is a science as well as an art. So, the teaching profession is based upon a systematic body of knowledge which has been derived from social, psychological, historical, political, and economical spheres of life. It's also influenced by the religious, spiritual, and ethical beliefs of the society. Self-organization. The people in teaching profession are sensitive towards growth and development because it is self-organized. Okay. Social service. It has been accepted that education is a potent tool to bring about changes in any nation. It's useful to develop the society. Okay. High degree of autonomy and teaching as a profession. Effective teaching practices. Maxims of teaching. A maxim is a ground rule or fundamental principle that has evolved over a period of time. It is a guide for future action or behavior. Teaching has also its own set of maxims which have been discussed below. From simple to complex. These all are most important. Okay, it has been asked thrice. Some questions are most important, and the effective of teaching is one of them. Okay, from simple to complex, from known to unknown, from seen to unseen, from create to abstract, from particular to general, from whole to part, from indefinite to definite, from psychological to logical, from analysis to synthesis. Flow, nature, training of senses, encouragement of self-study. For principles of teaching, They are closely related to maximus. Teaching methods are based on two types of principles, general principles and psychological principles. In general principles, principle of motivation, principle of activity, learning by doing, principle of interest, principle of linking with life, principle of definition, definite aim, principle of recognizing individual differences, principle of selection. Okay. Principle of planning, principle of division, principle of revision, principle of creation and recreation, principle of democratic dealing, psychological principles. Okay. Principle of motivation and interest, principle of recreation, principle of repetition and exercise, principle of encouraging creativity and self-expression, principle of sympathy and cooperation, principle of reinforcement, principle of imparting training to sense, principle of remedial teaching. Okay, micro teaching is a teacher training technique for learning teaching skills. Objectives of teaching, which is most important question and repeatedly asked questions. Okay, today we will discuss about objectives of teaching. An objective describes an intended result of instruction rather than the process of instruction itself. A good objective should be specific outcome based, that is, it should emphasize on the output rather than the process of instruction, and measurable. The objectives of teaching and learning must integrate at the end of the instruction. Classification of teaching and instructional objectives. There are two main ways of classifying instructional objectives. One classification is given by Bloom's, whereas another classification is given by Gagné and Briggs. Bloom's classification of teaching and instructional objectives. According to this classification, instructional objectives fall under one of the following three categories. Cognitive domain. It functions at 6 levels, which are as follows: knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, evaluation. Affective domain. It includes the following levels: receiving willingness to listen, responding willingness to participate, valuing willingness to be involved, organizing willingness to be advocate of an idea, characterization willingness to change one's behavior or way of life. Psychomotor domain. It's mainly concerned with the acquisition of technical skills. Following are the 5 different levels of instructional objectives of psychomotor domain: imitation, manipulation, precision, articulation, and naturalization. Hope you will understand. Gagné and Briggs classification of teaching and instructional objectives. According to this classification, the learning outcomes fall under one of the following categories: intellectual skills, cognitive strategies, verbal information, motor skills, and attitudes. What are the methods of teaching? If a child cannot learn the way we teach, we should teach the way they learn. Okay, important methods of instruction. It's most important question. Teacher-centered strategy, mixed strategy, student-centered strategy. In this table, we will discuss all three one by one. Teacher-centered strategy, which is large group methods. In this large group methods, we have lectures, team teaching, TV or radio presentation, or we can say mobile phone presentation. Okay. In mixed strategy, small group method, which is group discussion, seminar, panel discussion, brainstorming, project method work, case study, role play, stimulation, demonstration. In third one, student centered strategy, which is individualized methods. It is tutorials, assignments, project work, case study, programmed instruction, computer assisted learning, interactive video, open learning, personalized system of instruction, PSI, heuristic method. Okay. Large group teaching methods. In large group teaching methods, lecture method is one. Former lecture helps in building up basic theoretical knowledge that must be gained before practice or before participative sessions. Lectures can be either one way or two way, depending upon the presence or absence of the faculty to seek further information, classification, and explanation. To make lecture method more effective, the 3 factors, namely preparation, presentation, and evaluation, must be given due to consideration. Okay. Preparation, presentation, and evaluation. Advantages. What are the advantages? Economical, as it can cover large audience in less time. Stimulates further learning. Flexibility of adopting the lecture according to time and equipment available. Limitations. What are the limitations? Students may be a passive listener, so teacher has to make conscious efforts to make it two-way communication. Not very suitable for developing mental skills. Stressful for the audience who does not have efficient skill on teaching or on taking notice. Team teaching method. Team teaching method. The team teaching is an innovative approach in teaching large groups in which two or more teachers are involved in planning, executing, and evaluating the learning experiences of a group of students. Learning and learners' characteristics. Learning definition. It appears quite simple to define the term learning. After all, we have spent our entire lives learning new things. Learning is basically psychological in nature. A few definitions offered by psychologists are given below. Learning is a process whereby the behavior of an organism undergoes changes as a result of experience. Learning is relatively a permanent change in capacity for performance which is acquired through experience. Learning is the way through which human beings acquire new skills, knowledge, attitude, and the values. The outcomes of learning are the new capabilities possessed by the learner. Okay, learners' characteristics are mainly about individual differences. Learners have mainly common characteristics at various ages and stages. Okay, but they also differ significantly in many ways. There are variations among learners in respect to their age, cultural environment, past experiences, physical, mental, and emotional makeup, goals, needs, etc. Hilgard, an exponent in the field of learning, says learning is the process by which an activity originates or is changed through training procedures. Learning is the modification of behavior. Learning is purposive. Learning is a continuous process. It's true. Learning is universal phenomenon. Learning is process and development. Learning is transferable. Learning includes all the three aspects of human behavior. Elements of learning event. The main component of learning event are as follows: learner, stimulus, and the internal conditions of the learner and response. Main steps are in learning process is reception, acceptance, retrieval, to working memory, semantic encoding, responding, reinforcement, retrieval, and reinforcement generalization. Types of learners. There are main three categories of learners' characteristics: general characteristics, specific entry, competencies, and learning style. Learning characteristics are on the basis of personal and social attributes. 1.2 table is here. I will show you table differences between adult and youth learners. This is table. You can see here adult learners and youth learners. In adult learners, problem-centered, result-oriented, self-directed, skeptical about new information, accept responsibilities for their own learning. Youth learners, subject-oriented, focuses on course completion. Future-oriented, dependent upon adults for direction, more likely to accept new information. Dependence upon others. Okay, they are dependent on adults. Okay, learner characteristics on the basis of learning. In table 1.3, learner type and learning style. This is learner type and this is effective learning style. In learner type, visual, auditory, intuitive, inductive, deductive, actively, reflectively, sequentially, globally. And in effective learning style, it has pictures, diagrams, and demonstrations, words and sounds, insights and hunches, from facts to generalization, from theory to individual factors, physical engagement or discussion, introspection, series of related steps, large jump or holistic approach. Okay, in number 3, learner characteristics on the basis of listening skills. Listening is an important skill, okay? And there are 4 types of listening style. 4 types of listening styles: active listening, empathic listening, evaluative listening, critical listening, and appreciative listening. Learning characteristics on the basis of thinking styles. How we think. Types of thinking style: reflective thinkers, creative thinkers, practical thinkers, and conceptual thinkers. Factors affecting teaching. Teaching is an art and a skill. Its acquisition depends upon so many factors which are briefed below. Teaching is an art and a skill. Its acquisition depends upon so many factors which are briefed below. Educational qualification of teacher. Skills, experience of teacher, classroom environment, economic factor, administrative policies of school, college, or university, and subjective matter or parental expectations. Different approaches in education. Three bases of education. The educational process is decided on the basis of three questions: why, how, and what. Why, how, and what. Here, the question of why is most important. This is answered by philosophy. The how is decided by social needs. Hence, education is based on the basis of philosophical, psychological, and sociological basis. The important approaches in education are discussed below. Behaviorism, law of exercise and law of effect. Gestalt psychology, constructivism, idealism, naturalism, pragmatism, humanism, rationalism, existentialism. Learning and evaluation. It's most important question and repeatedly asked questions. Teaching has been defined as the process of facilitating learning, and learning is broadly defined. Learning is broadly defined as the process of acquiring knowledge, attitudes, skills, and habits. In other words, teaching, training, and evaluation are the three interdependent aspects. It's interdependent aspects of the educative process. There is a direct relationship among the four important factors in the educational system, such as objective, curriculum, method, and evaluation. Desirable characteristics of evaluation. Its comprehensiveness and continuous. It must try to assess. Evaluation is a continuous, all aspects of a child's development process as education. Functions of evaluation. Evaluation does not end with the summarization of results. It has direct bearing on the improvement of the system as a whole. The functions of evaluation are as follows: its feedback, motivation, better guidance, remediation, facilitators, planning, revision of curriculum, inter-institutional education, educational discussion making, submission of progress report to parents. Okay, this was the function of evaluation. Classification of evaluation techniques. A good evaluation device is one which secures valid evidence regarding the desired change of behavior. A teacher needs to know the various devices that are helpful in gathering evidence on the change taking place in pupil. They can be categorized into quantitative and qualitative techniques. It's most important question, qualitative and quantitative. In quantitative techniques, written examination, oral examination, practical examination, okay? And in qualitative techniques, observation and interviews, checklist, rating scale, cumulative records, diaries of pupils. Types of evaluation on the basis of phase of instruction. In the various phases of instruction, evaluation is integrated. The four types of evaluation are placement, formative, diagnostic, and summative. Placement evaluation, formative evaluation, diagnostic evaluation, and summative evaluation, internal evaluation. And in teaching aids. I hear and I forgot. I see and I believe. I do and I understand. Teaching aids aim to promote learning in students. Apart from the traditional textual structure, different types of aids such as video, audio, and hands-on tools, etc., are used to help students in increasing their learning experience. Aids are a much better method for learning because they relate textual matter, which visual, audio, and videos thus enhance the learning in a meaningful way. They follow the assumption that learning originates from sense experience. They help in better learning, retention, and recall, thinking and reasoning, activity, interest, imagination, better assimilation, and personal growth and development. Educational technology. Educational technology is most important. Educational technology can be divided into two categories: hardware approach and software approach. Okay. In hardware approach, it includes computer, episcope, overhead projector, and in software approach, radio, slide, and film projector, teaching machines, TV, etc. Software approach is characterized by task analysis, writing precise, objective, selection of appropriate learning strategies, immediate reinforcement of responses, and constant evaluation. Newspapers, books, magazines, educational gyms, flashcards, etc. also form a part of software approach. According to these senses involved, the educational technology can be divided into audio aids, video aids, and audio video aids. Functions of audio visual aids. When properly used, audio visual aids contribute to one or more of the following functions: more clarity and understanding, better attention, interest, and retention. It helps in faster and comprehensive learning. Better assess, save the instructor's time, supplement the spoke words by combining audio visual stimuli. Okay, limitations of audio aids. Learners may form distorted impressions unless audio-visual aids are supplemented with required explanations. Teaching may be narrowed down to only a multimedia, few big ideas, not giving the complete picture of a subject. Multimedia, it is a combination of more than one media, but it could include several forms of media and audios, text, stills, images, animations, graphics, videos, and films. Okay, types of teaching aids according to projection or show. Limitations of audio aids. Learners may form distorted impressions unless audiovisual aids are supplemented with required explanations. Teaching may be narrowed down to only a few big ideas, not giving the complete picture of a subject. Multimedia, it is a combination of more than one media, but it could include several forms of media and audios, texts, still images, animations, graphics, videos, and films. Types of teaching aids according to projection or shown. Teaching aids according to projection or shown are divided into projected and non-projected aids. Projected aids, for example, sliders, film strip, silent films, cartoons, videos, projectors, overhead projector, epidioscope. Non-projected aids, for example, blackboard, chart, etc. Apart from these aids, there are two additional categories of the teaching aids: display aids and presentation aids. Display aids, for example, poster, bulletin, board, models, exhibitors, etc. Presentation aids, for example, flashcards, sliders, film strips, etc. Again, it's important mind mapping. Most important question is mind mapping. What's in mind mapping? A mind map is a diagram used to visually organize information. A mind map is hierarchical and shows relationships among pieces of the whole. Pieces of the whole. It's often created around a single concept, drawn as an image in the center of black page, to which associated representations of ideas such as images, words, and parts of words are added. Major ideas are connected directly to the central concept, and other ideas branch out from those major ideas. Mind maps can also be drawn by hand, either as notes during a lecture, meeting, or planning session, for example, or as higher quality pictures when more time is available. Mind maps are considered to be a type of spider diagram. A similar concept in the 1970s was idea sun bursting. Fairness, quality, and this is success, team spirit, honesty. You can see. Projected visual aids. Any visual ad that is used for magnification of image on a screen in dark or semi-dark conditions can be called a projected visual aids. There are three important methods of projection. Direct method, indirect method, and reflected projection. In direct method, projection slide and film projectors, and in indirect projection, overhead projectors, and in reflected projection, opaque projection and epidiaspora, handheld projector, video projector. Non-projected visual aids, those aids which are used without projection. For example, one is chart. A chart is a symbolized visual aid with pictures of relationships and changes which are used to tabulate a large mass of information or shows a progression. A chart is a graphical representation for data visualization in which the data is represented by symbols such as bars in a bar chart, lines in a line chart, or lines in a pie chart. A chart can represent tabular numeric data, functions, or some kind of quality structure and provide us different information. Different info. Types of charts. There are different types of charts. One is bar chart, pie chart, tabular chart, tree chart, flow chart, pictorial chart, Orly chart, pull chart, and striptease chart, flip chart. In flashcards, poster, pictures, and photographs, graphs, maps, diagrams, display boards. What is in display boards? Blackboard. It has blackboard or chalkboard, whiteboard, bulletin boards. It's most important question. Display boards. Flannel board, flannel board, and a flannel graph, magnetic board, and pegboard. Number 9 is three-dimensional methods, models, objective specimens and globe, audio aids, radio recordings, digital audio player, telephone or mobile television, activity aids, field trips, experimentation, dramaticus, teaching, machines, and programmed instructions, other activity aids. Factors influencing the selection of teaching aids: nature of audience, size of audience, and teaching objectives or expected nature of change, nature of subject matter, availability of aids, relative cost. Dale's come of experience. Edgar Dale, born 29th of April 1900 in Benson, Minnesota, died March 8th, 1985 in Columbus, Ohio, was an American educator who developed the cone of experience, also known as the learning pyramid. He made several contributions to audio and visual instructions, including methodology for analyzing the content of motion pictures. Important types for better. It's most important. Classroom management. First is classroom management. Immediate action. Stop teaching in case of misbehavior. Teaching with sense of humor. Change serious. Adopt and be sensitive. Counsel after class. Talk to the parents. Education and teaching related important days. This is date and this is important days. 4th January. It's World Braille Day. 24th January. It's National Girl Child Day, also called as Balika Divyas. 11th February. It's International Day of Women and Girls in Science. 21st February. International Mother Language Day. 28th February, it is National Science Day. And 21st June, International Day of Yoga. 15th July, World Youth Skills Day. 5th September, Teachers Day. 8th September, International Literacy Day. 14th September, Hindi Day. 5th October, World Teachers Day. 11th October, International Day of Girl Child. 20th October, World Statistics Day. 1st November, National Education Day. 14th November, Children's Day. 20th November, Universal Children's Day. This is also teaching aptitude, which is 3 levels of teaching. We have done our first topic, which is teaching aptitude. Hope you will understand all these topics. I have discussed all these topics one by one. I hope you will understand. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe my channel.